of these aspects from the recovery that you are seeing now post the COVID uncertainties, along with now $9 billion of valuation being clocked in, tech global giants eyeing for an investment in OYO, and also your aspirations as an entrepreneur to go public with your company. All these put you at a very important juncture in your entrepreneurial journey. Tell us, what does this inflection point mean for you?
Sure. So I think, first off, if I were to explain, ours or probably almost every entrepreneur or company's journey is filled with highs and lows, right? I think over the last few years, with the pandemic impacting us last year, I think, frankly, that was a moment of, in some way, re-looking and preparing for the future. I think as the pandemic hit us, and we were in the travel industry, which is right in the middle of the impact that COVID would bring to a lot of businesses. I think our view was to respond to it with a very straightforward perspective of being able to use this as an opportunity to transform our company rather than making incremental steps. It was, consolidate, make sure that you have the right capital, and evolve. Those were three things that we sort of thought about.
Yes. So Ritesh, for any internet or digital company, the unit economics is one of the prime matrices on the basis of which you are analyzed, and your profitability is also estimated. How has that improved during the pandemic because of the use of digital?
Absolutely. Look, I think I will break this down into two parts. The first is, I think our underlying unit economics rapidly improved because we simplified our business model. So the company has moved to a place where, ever since September 2019, we moved to a place where we have simple contracts where once the hotel owner joins our platform, we would charge a fee of the overall revenue we send to the underlying premises, where we charge a base fee for the bookings that come across platforms, almost as a software service. We charge a fee kicker on top for the bookings that come from the OYO's app and website and equivalent platform. That simplicity in business improved our gross margin substantially, due to which I think even though our revenue has not fully recovered, our gross margins have fully recovered from that of the pre-pandemic levels. The second is the cost structure, right? I think in a lot of our businesses, after sales service is one of the highest cost structure that exists. OYO has moved to a place in the last year and a half. Before the pandemic, majority of our service on the merchant side or the hotel owner side were through local area managers. Yes. And on customer side was through call center. After the pandemic, almost 85% of the service is through chatbot and chat. So which structurally has changed the margin quality for the business. And on the other hand, is improved service also, because earlier people had to wait for 5 hours or 6 hours for the local manager to come. Now they can, get the service much quicker, hopefully. And more importantly, look, I think it also is important for the leadership of the company to, take their own time to listen into the partners. As we entered the time of the, pandemic, we already had some areas of improvement that we could have made on the owner side, right? There was some noise that we had from hotel owners that that existed for our ecosystem even beforehand. So I personally took to it to make sure that every week, Friday or Saturday, I personally hold an owner town hall for almost a year and a half, listening into thousands of hotel owners, the good, bad, and all kinds of questions and challenges. And we learn and make sure that the next quarter we improve and go back and share that this is what we heard last time. Here are the improvements we have made, and what better can we do in the upcoming times. It's built a sense of community among our owners as well.
No, so taking feedback and also working on it is very, very critical to your business. But you did mention a very important aspect that globally OYO is the third most downloaded app. And with over 90 million downloads, only after Airbnb as well as Booking.com. How are you harvesting your data that you're generating?
In the new world we live in, Nisha, I think a lot of people talk about how important technology is and product is. I think the most important is data and data science. In my view, at least in my journey at OYO, I have seen its value to be the most important. The fundamental reason for that is, and let me give some real life examples, both on customer as well as on the hotel owner side. So we are able to figure out which customer most probably will want to take a weekend trip or a holiday trip in the upcoming 2 weeks, and hence what kind of hotel to recommend them, what kind of offers to give them, not just directly, but also with third-party banks and relative partners. And at the end, ensure that once they are in the hotel, we also know that which kind of customers typically like to extend their stay by one more day if they are, nudged a little bit. This kind of data point, combined with deep data science abilities on pricing, combined with deep data science abilities on the hotel owner side, where we can predict what kind of hotels should we go and capture next, which customers are really looking for, create substantial long-term value. For example, in pricing itself, we used to change pricing over anywhere between 20 to 40 million times a day because of our 100 plus data science, data engineering team around the world. So I believe fundamentally the power of data science to make a difference in everybody's business is very, very substantial in the years to come. And we are investing at the forefront of it, both organically as well as through external investments.
So one question definitely I'll ask you, Ritesh, is there have been talks that Microsoft is looking at a strategic investment in OYO. What kind of a collaboration are you looking at there?
I'm really sorry, Nisha. I can't comment about any of this news out there. But what I can talk about is that fundamentally from OYO's perspective, we see that longer term, doubling down and creating technology-based products, which makes a difference in the lives of our hotel owners and customers, is always going to create multifold impact, which is not just for OYO, right? Like all the business owners, business leaders listening to us right now, in each one of your business, I'm sure you're seeing that the gap between there used to be on one side technology companies and there used to be traditional companies. In the next generation, I think that gap is going to not exist. And traditional companies will also use technology and become more successful. And technology companies will, of course, continue to use more and more technology and data science to make a bigger difference in the times to come.
So one important aspect that really changed was with the recovery in Europe, the holiday home concept really picked up and you have benefited from that. Tell us about that bit and how is that really impacting the company's financials?
Sure. So I think, look, from globally, actually, staycations has been a single big driver of consumer demand recovery in the travel segment. People want to try and take that weekend trip, or even nowadays we see that people finish their weekends on Mondays or on Tuesdays after the travel is done, because they feel that they can still work from wherever they are traveling onto. So globally, we are seeing the rise of staycation and homes as a segment. And Europe, we have a significant, of course, number of small holiday homes that use our software services, due to which we are seeing that there is a strong rise in demand. We have seen that vaccination in Europe is reaching around 60 to 65% levels on a single jab rate. And that has a direct impact in terms of demand, due to which our first half, not only have our big bookings grown, our bottom line has also been improving. But again, we are also keeping a close eye on the uncertainties that also exist. For example, recently there were floods in Netherlands, Germany and Belgium, that area, which are also critical business areas. Customers of ours are in that part of the world, but we're keeping our eye out for any deceptions like this.
Right. So talking about numbers now, Ritesh gave us a picture of how you did get EBITDA positive, then there was a setback, and now again recovery has kicked in. How sustainable is your path to profitability that you're seeing at the current moment?
Yeah, so I think, that's a very important question, Nisha. I think fundamentally COVID as it hit really allowed a lot of companies to focus on their health, on their margins, on their quality, on their fundamentals, especially a company like OYO, which was growing quite significantly. It gave us sort of the time to really get a lot of these things, in the right line. As we were able to see through that, now we are really again preparing for the big growth coming up in the times to come. Specifically in terms of bottom line, the good news is that the company's got into a place where our burn is at the 4-5 million range on a monthly basis, whereas the company's overall capital is upwards of, as I've mentioned, including our JV companies, upwards of 800 million. So very significant, capital availability exists. We believe that as the market recovers, we have a good path towards profitability. However, I will refrain from sharing a timeline. But I do believe that whenever we get there, it will be sustainable, just given today we are talking about relatively, still not fully recovered revenues from where things stand today.
Right. So let's talk about financing aspect, Ritesh. That is the core of any business. That is the real lifeline. If you get liquidity, if you get investor support, then that gives a lot of comfort in going ahead with the business. You have seen tough times in the past. In fact, one of the few internet companies which raise debt on the books, long-term debt, which is more a mainstay of traditional companies, right? So you have a good mix of that. And now you have equity fundraising as well, where the valuation that is kicking in is on the higher side and taking you to the pre-COVID levels as well, right? I mean, step by step. So how do you see the debt equity side of the company? And does debt worry you? Because we have seen that some of the biggest traditional companies are also going debt-free now.
Absolutely, Nisha. I think this is an area of a lot of interest for me that I've been sharing my thoughts about. The first bit is, I believe any good business should be able to manage a good balance of equity and debt. And the reason I say this is because, the cost of equity is much higher, but the risk of it is relatively lower. The cost of debt is much lower. And it also in some form demonstrates the quality of the business, because debt investors are always much more cautious than that of the equity investors. So in that context at OYO, we've always also endeavored to have a good balance of both of these capital providers. Typically, equity investors, have, of course, partnered OYO over the years. But in the debt side, there are typically two things that are very critical to get good quality, world-class institutional debt partners to join you. The first is you need to be, very, very well accountable to the matrix you share. And in that context, we were among the earliest, consumer tech companies in India to get rated by Moody's, Fitch, and global rating agencies such as that. That I think is a very critical expectation, but I think that really also prepares the company to stand test to an accountability that they are not used to, especially in the startup ecosystem. And the second after that is the investors who come along. They want the upside. They want to predict the upside of equity, or they expect the upside of equity, but they also want to prepare for a downside, which is very, very well thought of. So I think given that context, I believe that we of course have made a start, but you may have seen recently Ola Electric raised 100 million of long-term debt, and I anticipate already I've been responding to discussions where there are other large Indian internet companies considering TLB and other kind of institutional capital in order to build a good balance of equity and debt, while at the same time ensuring that they get a widened range of capital providers around themselves.
But is there a refinancing on the cards, while liquidity is something which is very easily available for digital companies right now, and everybody is trying to also capture that liquidity window right now? So how do you stand at the moment?
So look, I think first off, from a company perspective, we are well capitalized. And in terms of any future-looking offerings, I think it's still early to share. But as a company, we've always, at least for the last year and a half or so, since we've had a high-quality board around ourselves and so on, we've tried to operate as much as a public company as possible. So to be, a well-run, well-governed company. However, what is the right timeline of an offering is something that our board finally decides. My job is to put my head down, execute, and build great, outcomes for our customers and merchants, in which there's a lot of work left for me to do.
All right. But, for any entrepreneur, the biggest event and the milestone sometimes is to list their company publicly.
We are keeping a very close eye on the potential public markets in India. You may have seen recently, that the consumer tech IPOs in India have been doing quite well. The market recognizes the opportunity that tech companies bring in the marketplace for the future. So we are keeping our eye out, but from our perspective, we would want to consider any of that opportunity from a growth perspective, primarily in times to come.
But there is a spate of startup, internet, and digital-based companies, Ritesh, in the IPO market, almost like a frenzy, because there is just so much liquidity chasing these companies with the growth potential that it provides. So what will be your idea for public issuance? It's also a liquidity window across the world that companies try to capture. I wanted to understand your internal timelines on when you'll be comfortable for that now that recovery is kicking in. And second, will it be like an India listing that you look at, or an overseas or SPAC? That is also an offering that a lot of companies have tried to use.
Yeah, so I think, unfortunately, while all of those are, again, board made decisions, I think what I can share is that clearly, this is a new dawn of the Indian industry where companies like Zomato, which are really creating a new industry around themselves, are able to list, and the market appreciates the context that they are coming with. And as you can see, the stock has also performed well in the window so far. So I do believe that this is an opportunity, or a path for a lot of new age companies with not just growth but also established market leadership to get to see opportunity into the future. Specifically about OYO, when and the venue, I think a lot of those I will still leave it to the board. But I think from our perspective, we're operating like a well-governed company, which is already operating like a public company rather than so whenever our board makes a decision, it will not be a surprise for us, and we'll be able to execute on it.